This video is sponsored by my amazing website, CrochetGold.store. I have some great products crafted with care. Thank you for your continued support. Now, before we start, let me be clear. Everything that I'm sharing here today are my threaded thoughts and opinions based on what I've seen, experienced, and researched. If you see the same things or you see them differently, I respect that. Drop your perspective in the comments because that's how we grow together. Also, when I'm talking about specific people or situations, everything is alleged unless proven otherwise. Other than that, I'm just here to spark conversation, not to claim that I have all the answers or know these figures personally. Anywho, now that that is clear, let's get into the specific topic. The question I want to investigate this video is, you know what, is Selena Gomez cloned? Because what in the actual hell is that video of her kissing that man's dirty feet? Now, there is nothing, and I do mean nothing, and I do mean absolutely, truly nothing that somebody could say to me to make kissing someone's dirty feet, hell, kissing somebody's feet, period, is just off and weird to me, and I don't know why anybody would do that. But a woman kissing a man's feet? No, there's nothing you actually can say to me to excuse that in any kind of way. That's just the actual way that I feel. Because, oh my God. Okay, so let's start this by saying I just mentioned the clone stuff just because, first of all, I don't feel like it's personally because of solely because of the different way that her face looks. Just because a lot of people, yes, will have that sort of energy of, saying things about women and when they age, and even when they try to do things to reverse that aging, they still get criticism. So I don't want to come at it from that standpoint, but it's just a well-known, or I won't say well-known because a lot of people don't know, but it's a hidden and very much talked about Hollywood thing, and people have done conspiracies about her specifically and why and whatever that is. So not only that, I want to talk about that and the fact that a lot of those same people in Hollywood are also diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which to me does give a little bit of that, like the what's that movie, I'm trying to think of it, like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It gives that to me. I need to go rewatch that, but it gives that like two personalities kind of, hoarding one space, right? But that's why I would say that. More seriously though, the whole point of me talking about this is just to talk about the brainwashing of women. So if you have not watched my Miranda video, my Don't End Up Like Miranda video, that's what I feel like is happening to Selena Gomez. This is my true and personal thoughts. The clone stuff was just for, well, we don't have to go there, but we can. But yes, that was just a theory of what could be happening in the Hollywood sector. But quite honestly, many women, as was depicted by Miranda in Sex and the City, many women go through that. I'm getting older and I want a man. And specifically, since we're talking about Selena Gomez, she was making a lot of TikToks using other sounds of, like dating and aging and your dating pool and, all of these things. And I really feel a great amount of just, I don't know what the real word would be. I want to say sadness, but I don't feel sad. Like pity. I feel a great amount of pity for women who, put such like marriage and relationships on such a high pedestal in their life that they just, even if they grow up and, get older, they just cannot find it within themselves to be happy and satisfied that they have had a great career or they have great friends, or just they can't find any fulfillment in life beyond having a partner. That is the ultimate sign of depression for me. Like women who can have everything else, but if they don't have one thing, they just want to throw it all away and all of that. Now, that's not me wanting to take anything away from great relationships and people having great relationships and how fulfilling it can be, but quite frankly, here's the thing about marriage. You do not ever own a person. Yes, you two can come to agreements of, what you will and will not do, who you will and will not be with, and things of that nature. But that person still has their own autonomy, so they can choose to, at any moment, yes, even after you have made this vow to each other, to go outside of that bounds, because they still have their personal autonomy. And that, for a lot of women, causes them to have this sort of feeling of inadequate, and feeling inadequate and feeling like they are not good enough because they couldn't they couldn't force another person into submission, because that's what, as women, we've been told is going to happen. Like, when you get a guy, he is going to be yours. It's kind of like, it's very weird to me. It's very much like having a puppy. And and even for men who are told that they're supposed to be having these wife appliances of a woman who will do whatever for you and all of that, that's very weird, and it's very disgusting, like tropes and propaganda that has been spread like basically all of our lives, to where if you go outside the bounds of that, then it's seen as like you're not as successful as you could be if you had this thing. And even when quiet as it's kept, like when a lot of people get into these relationships, they end up being just in a terrible position, or just in a position where they are, not as happy as they could be, or not as happy as they were when they were single. And it's okay to admit that everybody doesn't need to be in a relationship, period. There are other things on the spectrum of relationships, like asexuality, for people to engage in, and not just, or people to be okay with being, and not just being in this one solitary way, because everybody says that that's the happiest way to go about it, even though we can see from people getting divorced. And if the divorce rates are so high, and then if you get divorced one time, it's like a continuous cycle. So yeah, people who get married again, they typically get divorced at high rates as well. I mean, it's honestly just it's a bet. You're taking a bet on another person, which is not the best place to place your money on. I mean, placing a bet on yourself and knowing that you have the ability to control yourself is one thing, but placing a bet on another person, and then a lot of these women feel like they have to chase the man around and get him to like it's like the woman who came on TikTok and was like, oh, I don't know what it is, but I don't want to go on a girl trip. And it's like, here's the quiet part that she's not saying that I'm going to say for her. She doesn't want to go on a girl trip because even, yes, with their daughter around, or their kid, whatever kid they have around, that person, if she doesn't trust him, she knows that he will go and cheat. Her feelings be damned, the kid being there or not being there, all be damned. They don't care. They will go out and cheat because they have that autonomy. And if they feel like, well, I can get away with it, then they will do it. So I'm getting back, I will get back to Selena Gomez, but this is not just Selena Gomez. This is definitely a tired trope of, women who settle down and settle out of being extremely desperate. And that causes you to settle for a guy who is talking about, poop, walking around the house, mind you, with dirty feet and just talking about how other of his guy friends was peeing in his mouth. Like, he is such a disgusting little troll. Like, and mind you, I don't actually know this person, but this is things that he has actually said out of his own mouth that I have witnessed with my own eyes and my own ears, and it got to my brain, and my brain came back with the fact that he was a disgusting little troll. And I don't know why any woman would actually want somebody who had their mouth peed in. Like, I don't know why you would want an attachment to that person. And the only thing I can come up with is this has got to be a humiliation ritual. It has got to be, because anything else does not make sense at all. And it really does go to show, like I said, that feeling of women, that segment of women, because all women don't feel like this, honestly, as we can see. But I will say this is the archetype of the Ashanti and the Selena Gomez types, the ones that are, have had, great careers, are able to travel, they're free, they have all of these things, but they feel like, honestly, if you're that successful at that point, you could just really go and get, if you wanted a kid really that bad, you could really go and have, artificial insemination and things of that nature, which I don't know that I would be, that pressed to, go and procreate. But if you really wanted to be a mom, I can definitely understand you wanted to do that rather than, attaching yourself to a guy because you think that guy is having a guy and having the kid is the only way to do it. Like, it's people who are dealing in these rigid mindsets of what having it all looks like, and they really trap themselves up into that. And I really believe that is that same type of mindset that even Miranda, fictional characters, yes, they were trying to portray, because these people who are wrapped up in this sort of energy of, having it all and having it all look a certain way, and it's not even about how it actually feels to them in the moment that they have to live all of these years in these relationships. It really doesn't matter to them as long as on the outside it can look like, well, she has a career, she has the husband, and she has a child, and that doesn't make her a failure of a woman. And quite frankly, that is always stemming from an internal lack of self-worth, an internal shame of doing more, wanting more, and placing your value more on what people say about you rather than what you actually think about your own self and what you actually feel about your own self. Because people can actually say whatever the hell they want, but quite frankly, you're the one who has to wake up every day next to a man who got dirty feet, messing up your white sheets, and talking about poop this and farting and just burping all over the place. Like, that's something that you actually have to live with, and just disgusting. Anyway, and just talking about that also reminds me of the opposite side of this. So this is the extreme side of the spectrum, the ones who would kiss a man's dirty feet and love his stinking drawers. Because I'm like, if his feet is dirty like that, I'm having a hard time. Because he also talks about showers like, oh, well, if I have a good day, I'll reward myself with a shower. So yeah, you can't convince me that he's clean. Like, I'm just thinking about the streaks that they must be in that man's drawers. But anyway, getting back to the other side of that spectrum of women who are not crazed and deranged and placing their value on other human beings and what other human beings will say about them, I really think about Maya and the archetype of that woman who, is solid, who, is not, even if she has made mistakes in her life, even if she, did things and had a past version of her that was more concerned and wrapped up in, what other people thought about her, she has taken that time as a woman to grow and know herself and not, holding herself to this 14-year-old standards. Like, as a grown woman, policing yourself and your life right now based off of what you thought you would have as a 14-year-old is insane, because your 14-year-old self didn't know shit about life. That's just being frank about it. And your 14-year-old was being blasted with propaganda over and over and over again, telling them that this was the way to be, this was the way to live. So if you as a grown woman hasn't, taken that time to really investigate what you want for yourself and taking that time to really, become solid on who you are, being okay with where you are. If you're not that, then it's very, 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 very easy for these men, even if they're bottom of the barrel, below standard men, to come in and just, trench all over your life and actually make you feel like you should be glad that they're there, even though they're not adding anything. And the only thing that they may be adding is dirty streaks in your damn bed. Women who feel like that's actually a prize, instead of, focusing on what actually makes them feel good, not caring about, what other people say that you should have in life. And I feel like that's definitely how Ashanti got trapped up, because I always got the feeling that she was happy, traveling, and, she was out on these things. And I won't deny that sometimes you do want connection with another person, but girl, to make that connection be forever, baby, like, that is insane, especially if you have been with this person before and y'all went on the ring around the rosy and then y'all got out of that relationship. It's kind of like spinning the block on your ex and having a baby is such a bad idea. So I wanted to incorporate those same archetypes, because it's not just one person's problem, especially not since this person who has been a let's just say icon. I'll give her that. She's been like a figure over all these years for people who are, you know, now growing up, and just seeing her progression, it can very much have a feel of, you know, propaganda and, you know, placing these thoughts inside of other women's heads like, oh, well, I'm not going to be worthy unless, you know, I get married too, and I'll be actually happy when I get married too, which is not to say that's what she actually is. I don't care how much you kiss a man's feet and put his feet on your face. That doesn't actually symbolize happiness to me. It symbolizes, I don't know, MK Ultra or some shit. That don't symbolize happiness to me, but do what you must. But it's like putting that in the girls' heads who actually looked up to her is very damaging. And also, you know, just like a take what you can get mindset. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like, you know, she's at a bargain bin sale. Even though she's a millionaire, she's walking into like a bargain bin sale and just like, okay, give me the last man on the rack because he's the last one standing. Like, it's just desperate. It's just disgusting. It's a terrible behavior. Mind you, this is not just to go in on Selena Gomez. It's also because she has had a role and has been here for so long in the culture, and other girls looking up to her playing Alex Russo and all of these empowering, because that was an actually empowering role as a kid, to see someone who wasn't, you know, overly boy crazy or whatever, you know, having her play these empowering roles and doing all these things. And, you know, being someone that these people can, you know, kind of look up to or model after, and then seeing her being destroyed or destroying her reputation. That's why I said it's definitely a humiliation ritual, because there is no way that I or anyone else who has self-respect can actually look at her in the same way and in the same light. Now, when she was making all those TikToks, I definitely kicked that pedal from under her feet and was like, you know, this is not it. Like, it's very much not. It always gave desperate to me, so I wasn't really a fan of that. I'm definitely more of a fan of women who are standing up on their own autonomy, like the Maya archetype, one who is, you know, very much not needing someone else to give her worth or place worth on her, or even the whole world telling her that, oh, well, you're this and you're that and you're not going to be as happy as, and blah blah blah, and she still lives her life and is not swayed by public opinion. And my only hope is that women, strong women like Maya, stay strong, okay, and don't just settle for the first thing smoking, like, and being okay with saying, like, you know what, if my standards never get met, I may never get married, and being okay with that. Don't say, well, if my standards never get met, then in order for me to get married, I gotta lower my standards. Please do not be like that. Stay safe. Please just stay safe, okay? Because this is not the way to go at all. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Keep creating and support local.